So we are Wicked Connections, which basically stands for Wish You Knew Education Connections. And what we essentially provide are personal consultations, panel discussions, and matching mentors to students who want to come to Canada to study. And we provide that service for both international students and domestic students as well. So if you have any questions regarding university applications or just, figuring out what you want to study, we are your go-to person. So without further ado, I just want to start off today's session, which is scholarships in Canada. And we have two amazing students with us today who are currently studying at Memorial University at Newfoundland. And so I'm going to dive right into it. So guys, thank you so much for taking the time today to be here with us. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your program and why you chose Canada to study.
Sure. Hello everyone, and thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to help you guys. So my name is Adarsh. I'm doing Term 5 and Mechanical Engineering at MUN, and she's Divya.
I'm Divya, and I'm from India, and I'm doing my Term 5 Computer Engineering at MUN as well. Essentially, it's third year here.
Oh, and I'm from Mauritius.
Cool, great. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about why you chose to come to Canada to study?
So university is kind of like a common thing now. Everyone wants to study, but it's kind of hard to know exactly what you want to do after you study if you don't have any experience in the industry. And that's kind of why I chose Canada, because when I did my research, I saw just Australia and Canada that gave co-op opportunity. And it was just that I liked Canada more, so I chose Canada. Out of all the universities in Canada, I chose Memorial because of two reasons. One, because I had a friend who came here with me, and two, because I found that it was a more economic solution for studying, and also because it was a smaller city where there isn't so much competition. You are allowed to grow. It's not just you just working all the time to get first in the race. It's more of you just nurturing yourself so you can just do better on the long run. That's why I chose this city and this university.
Same here. For me, it was kind of the same thing. I had a friend who came here. So when I was finding universities after my high school education in Mauritius, I had a friend who came here. He told me it's very good, it's very cheap and economical. At the time, I didn't know about MUN that much. I just knew it was a university in Canada. Then I talked with that friend, and he told me it's very good. Don't just think that because of the cost. Many people have the mindset that, oh, cheap universities means not good education. We have to go to the best university to find the best education, but it's totally not the case. And we are the live examples of that. So the reason I chose MUN was, again, because of, like Divya said, the co-op work term opportunities, and it was a very affordable solution. So yeah, that's why I chose MUN.
Okay, great. I think you've made some fantastic points, both Divya and you. I'm so excited for this conversation today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the scholarships you got? So precisely the name of the scholarship, and if you wouldn't mind sharing perhaps the amount, just so that our international students can have an idea.
So I'll start. Okay. So for me, I got the IUGS entrance scholarship. That was the very first scholarship that I got here. And for this one, I didn't even know how I got it. So basically, the way it applies, just because when you do well, the first thing is you do well in your high school education. And then when I applied here as general admission, so basically for me in order to apply to engineering, you have to get a general admission first, because engineering is a competitive program. So they take you in first, and then they review your marks and see how well you did in high school. And then they put you in the engineering program. Those who are not successful at first, they get into the science program, Science program, and then they have to show they're competent enough to go in engineering. So for me, I got a direct entry into engineering program. And then afterwards, I got a message saying that I got the IUGS entrance scholarship because it reflected on my marks, how well I did in high school. And I believe it was 6,000 for me. So that was the entrance scholarship. So I'll let Divya talk about hers as well. No, let's talk about the base first. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So same. The first scholarship I got was also the same. The IUGS is basically the International Entrance Scholarship.
Yeah, for undergraduate
students. So basically, the main key point for any scholarship is your grades and your GPA. Everything else is like icing on the cake. If you do not have a very good GPA, it doesn't have to be a 4 on 4. Just something that shows that you work and that you try your level best to just stay on the top. That's good enough. So when I came here, I had a 90+% from my high school. We don't have GPA system. I did a CBSE system, and I had 90+%, and I got the scholarship as well. And apart from that, I'm not sure exactly what the criteria is to get a scholarship, but just so you guys know what exactly I did, which could have possibly made me land the scholarship, was one, my grades. Two, I used to dance. I used to sing. I was actively a sports member. I've had a lot of leadership positions in my school for sports, and I was also very actively involved in the arts club in my school. Additionally, I have attended Toastmasters clubs, and I'm a certified cavalier as well. So I'm guessing all these things that were in my application kind of reflected on why I got this scholarship as well. Although I should mention I got less than him initially. I got 4,000 something. And then later on, we both were given notifications that our scholarship amount has been extended. I got 6,000, and I forgot how much he got, but he got a little higher as well.
Yeah. So basically, the IUGS entrance scholarship, it's also known as the entrance scholarship, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, something like that. So it's the IUGS entrance scholarship. It reflects why I think, just like Divya said, but this scholarship is like, I think it just works on your ranking and on your marks. Because for me, when I did the application, I didn't put any of the extracurricular at first, because when I applied to MUN, I just gave my marks, my preliminary results, not even my results, because they were not out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then after I got my final results, then I gave it to them, and then depending on that, so I think this scholarship is widely based on how good you are, like academically, and maybe that's why the difference was a little bit. It fluctuates. Some people get 4,600, some people get 6,000, and for me, I was lucky enough for it to be increased to 8,600. So I guess the hard work goes from here. So the first advice that I can give to all people when they ask you for a scholarship, you have to be at least. It's not always about the academic. We'll get into that later. But one of the best thing, if they see you're a good student who has good academic grades, you're always among the best. You're more lucky to be able to get a scholarship, because they will be, oh, this guy studies, oh, this guy is good in that sense. So that was our IUGS entrance scholarship. And then after, my second scholarship for me was the International Work Term Scholarship, which is when you get a work term. For me, I'm a CoOp student, like I told you before, Zorin. So my degree entails me both studying and working. So on my work term, I had the opportunity to get the International Work Term Scholarship, because I had my first work term in my home country. And when they see that you're not going to do it in Canada, but elsewhere, they try to give you this scholarship. And this one, I don't think it's based on academics. It's also based on the place you're going, on the amount of money that you have to put. They see, oh, you have to pay for your flights to go to that place and study. So we'll try to help you in that sense. So you could say it's a financial need scholarship. So they just ask you, they give all the students who are going to international to go, like those who wants to go to do international work terms, they give them the opportunity to apply for that. And depending on your needs, which this one is mostly financial needs, it seems like if you want more money, how much is your ticket going to cost and stuff like that, then they give you that scholarship. Yeah. So that was my second scholarship. What about you, Divya?
Sorry, I think you are on mute.
Oh,
Right.
we're just
Okay.
talking about the scholarship. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to, yeah.
Is there something you were going to ask? Because
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I had a follow-up question. I just wanted to hear you guys finish talking first. But I guess my follow-up question is, for the first scholarships that you guys mentioned, and I think it was the same scholarship, just varying amounts, did you have to apply for it, or were you kind of just based on your grades, were you just kind of selected for it?
It was an automatic thing. So I didn't specifically apply. No, I'm not. I don't remember explicitly if I chose to, in my application, if I said yes, scholarship would be greatly appreciated, but I don't think so. I think it was just automatically allocated to you. Also, an additional thing, 6,000, 4,000, and whatever amount he said, I forgot, may seem like a smaller amount to those who have done some research on how much Canadian education costs, but you'd be surprised on how low our tuition fee is. So per semester, we take around 5 to 6 courses, and it costs us 7,000 something. So when you see that per semester cost, and our scholarship was for a year, it pretty much kind of covered our one semester tuition, which was great for us. So while on a Canadian level, that might be a lower amount, for this city and for this university, it was a really good amount for us.
I think that's a great point you make. I think it always depends on obviously your total amount of scholarship, and then depending on that, how much scholarship you end up getting and your tuition fee. It really puts things into perspective, which I think is a great point. So I think, Divya, you were talking a little bit about the second scholarship that you received before I asked my follow-up question. So I'll let you continue with that a little bit more.
For sure. So the second scholarship I received was in my term 3. Yeah, I received in term 3. And that was I loved getting a scholarship because I got it from the company that I really want to work for. It's from Verafin, and it was a $3,000 scholarship. And I know when I applied for this that they didn't only ask me about my GPA. In the application form, they'd ask me things like, why do you think you deserve this scholarship more? And they had asked me more questions about my finance situation, like what I am earning, am I being supported by my parents or by someone else, or do I have any student loans and things like that. So I know for a fact that this is not just based on your GPA, it's also based on things like your interest, where you want to go with your life, and whether you really need the scholarship. So they kind of, I think, weigh in everything together and then give this to you. And this is something you have to physically do. And this is just one example, but there are so many more other scholarships in the university that require you to write long essays. And if you really put work into that essay and actually show how much you care about that scholarship and actually show them why you deserve that scholarship, I'm sure people would land it. So yeah.
Yeah. So whatever she's saying, like we have stuff like merit-based scholarships and financial scholarships. It all depends, and sometimes they're a mix of both. So it just depends on which one you find, and yeah, exactly. So which one you find. So yeah.
Okay, great. I think those were some great points that you guys added. I don't think we've covered the topic in terms of if you've applied to any other schools in Canada except for, Memorial University. And if so, did you find the process of kind of applying to universities and also scholarships in general kind of challenging, or did you think it was fairly straightforward?
So for me, it's kind of a funny story. So I applied to Waterloo first, but the thing is, I didn't decide what to do by that time. So when I was supposed to be applying, I think I got the entry, but for the engineering faculty was already closed. We're not taking any more students. So they told me I have to wait 1 year to get into that program. I'm like, no, I'm not wasting 1 year. So that's the thing. For me, it was very funny because I applied to only 2 universities in Canada. One was Waterloo, and the second one was Memorial, because of that friend I told you at the start. And yeah, so in that sense, you could say the application process, which we can talk about later if you want, the application process for me was not that hard because I came through agencies when they helped me from top to bottom, like what I need to get, my passport, study permit, visa, everything was done for me. And it was a smooth process. I didn't have any problems as such personally. And for the application for the scholarship thingy, I was initially planning to look for some things because, the more money you get at the start is better for you. And so before I could even have the opportunity to look for scholarships prior to getting the entry, I know I was admitted, but before I started looking, I already got the message saying that I was granted the IUGS entrance level scholarship of 6,000. So I'm like, okay. My work was just made easier. So before coming, I didn't look to any other scholarships.
And as to me, I applied to 2 universities, University of Dalhousie and MUN. I didn't go to Dalhousie because they didn't have the major I wanted. They didn't have a computer engineering major. They only had electrical, and electrical is not me. I cannot deal with electronics. So I just didn't go to Dalhousie straight off the bat for just that one reason. And I didn't apply to any other university mainly because I looked and then I saw that. So I made sure that any university I saw had a mandatory co-op program, because that was the entire point of me coming so far away to study, because I want to go out into the industry and see how working is, because it's so different from sitting in a classroom or sitting in home, in this case, doing remote studying. But yeah, and when I looked and I saw there were so many career fairs in where I was, Abu Dhabi, like almost every other week in like during the university application season, there's like a career fair and people are just so many universities from all around the world just publicizing themselves. And what I noticed was that all the top shot universities, they have great opportunities, but like I mentioned, the competition is too much. And yes, I could have done it, but at what cost was my question? At the cost of just, I this is a completely personal opinion what I'm going to say right now. I'm not sure how everyone else will take it and how it applies to you, but when I say I'm coming here to study, it's not just to study. I'm coming here to set up a life for myself, and that includes me doing things outside the university too. If I just focus on my university, it's not me setting up a life, it's just me getting education. And if you're away from home, away from parents and being alone, that is just not enough. You need to look at building yourself outside that too. And so when I looked into that and I listened to all of the people who came, all the representatives, and they told me that yes, there is co-op, but if you land it, you're going to smooth passage, but it is really hard to land it.
So it's
And
really COVID.
it is so true. It is so true. So far, me being in my third year, I think this is a third work term, Adarsh.
Yeah.
And I chose not to do my first one voluntarily because I wanted to go back and see my parents. The second one, I did it. I did it, and I'll come back to that. Just remind me in case I forget about the financial part of co-op. And then third work term right now due to COVID, it's just so hard to get something, and I'm just doing a remote work term from back home. But working here is really much, much, much more beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think some of the points that you guys mentioned, I think are fantastic. I think a lot of people, especially international students, when they want to come and study in Canada or any other country, they look at the top universities. I mean, that's natural, right? Everyone wants to go to a top tier school. But I think it's very important to have that perspective that, those top tier universities firstly have tons of other top students applying, right? So you're already in a very competitive environment. And oftentimes that could be, discouraging for some. It really depends on the individual and how they operate. But I think that's a fantastic point that might not be the best fostering environment for your growth and for you to build your life and learn, etc. So I think that's a fantastic point that you bring in. For the people who are watching, I really want to kind of emphasize that I know we always want to go to top universities, and that's not to discourage people, but it's also a little bit of a different perspective, which I think is important for people to think about, which I think was great. So yeah. I know, Divya, you mentioned a little bit about some of the extracurriculars that you've gotten involved in, and I do want to hear a little bit more on that. But Adarsh, I want to pass this off to you and ask you, what are some of the extracurriculars you had? Can you dive a little bit deep into that, just to give our students some ideas in terms of what extracurriculars they could have for university?
Sure. Just before coming to that, I would like to make a point. I just wanted to tell whoever's watching and just tell them that there are a lot of universities. When they say top tier universities, the price is top tier as well, as we call it. It costs a lot to go, but have no problem. I know a lot of people who are not that academically good, but they just have the means to go to top tier universities. And surprisingly, after some research that I did, top tier universities that require that much of a top tier grades to get inside. It just depends on the financial means, I just want to make sure everyone knows that when you're looking at university, does that mean you're going to get just the best students? You get all kind of students everywhere. And personally, from a personal perspective, I would say I've been to a top tier school for high school for the past 7 years, and being in a top tier school doesn't mean that you are guaranteed to success. You're guaranteed to be good just because you're going on that top tier university. The effort has to be the same, or even more, like you said, because competition might vary. So I can't say because I've not been in all the universities. But I'd like to say that, just like to reiterate again, that being in a top tier university does not guarantee you success if you do not put in the work that you have to put anywhere else. Being successful just depends on you and on your perspectives, on your dedication to work harder. Yeah, I would just like to tell that.
Before we dive into the extracurriculars, because he mentioned that, I just have something else I have to put forth that's actual evidence that will actually, make you guys understand why he says it and how he says it. The company I'm really interested in, Verafin, it's a startup by students in MUN. I know so many other students in MUN who all have startups. I know professors who have had startups. So this city just has this environment where everyone is just so ready to give. There's just so much space here to breathe and to grow and to make new things. Almost, I know in my own class, like my own batchmate, his friend, Ahmed Yasser is his name if I'm not wrong. He's also in mechanical engineering, our same grade. He built a startup. It's called ActiveMate. It's an app. In fact, he reached out to me for his app development and things like that, but things didn't go through. But my point being, at a third year university level, he could build an app. He could like build a startup. He could apply for financial aid and get it through the university itself. And it just gives you the place and things, the resources you need to build and develop. So what would you prefer, having your own startup or just going to a university and going to a top-notch company? It probably all that work you'd have to put in a top-tier university to go to land that high job, close to what you'd need in a startup, wouldn't you say? Like that dedication I'm talking about.
I think that's a great point that you make that. So you're saying like Memorial University and just kind of the city of St. John in general has a very entrepreneurship focused environment, which allows you to kind of foster if somebody's looking into going into business and they're like, oh, because I think people come with the perspective that, oh, I'm going to get a job, probably some internships, and then we'll see where things go, right? But a lot of people might not have that entrepreneurship mindset coming in. But if that is something that they want to explore, you're saying that, you guys at your university, you guys have that great culture through your professors, through your peers and classmates, etc. So that's really good to know. I think a lot of viewers who are going to be watching this probably wouldn't know that. So that's great insight to know. So thank you for sharing. So again, I'll pass it up to Adarsh.
One more thing.
Of course. Go ahead.
Add on. I was involved in something very similar, entrepreneurship, this weekend. It was called the Monpole Hackathon, and it was by the city of Monpole itself. The mayor himself was in this presentation, and it was an open competition. No one had to pay anything. Students could come register their teams and just build like an app idea, a solution, a tech solution to anything. And top three groups were provided financial aid and counseling to just launch their idea and make it a startup. So the aids were great. It was $5,000, $3,000, and $1,500. And I didn't win it, but it was an awesome experience nonetheless. Just sit there for 3 days and brainstorm about an idea and present it. And if you all have seen Shark Tank, it was like Shark Tank gone extremely university level. That's what it was.
So basically what Divya means to say that it's not always like you have to look forward just for scholarship opportunities. Sorry, there's a lot of other opportunities, such like you said, like competitions and stuff like that, which can really launch you forward and build your personal growth. Like not just finding out about why you just want to apply for your scholarship and why you want to get it, but once you get here, there's so many opportunities available, like the competitions you did, that can launch you forward and also give you funding based on what you're doing, based on what you have learned up till date in university or from home, and you have put forward your ideas through competitions or through any self-raising awareness, any things that you want to do that contribute to the wellness of others. Anything can be recognized, and you can get funding for anything that you do that can bring good to other people in whole.
Awesome. I think those are really good points. And so you're saying that even when you're coming into university, you're having these opportunities where you can potentially get further financial aid, even if you're an international student, which I think at a lot of bigger universities, actually, it's not potentially available. So the opportunities can be somewhat limiting in some of these bigger universities, whereas it seems like Memorial University does have that option for international students, which is great. Perfect. So, okay, Adarsh, let's talk a little bit about your ECAs now. We'll hop back onto the scholarship, but guys, I'm loving the conversation. So please feel free to kind of add things as we go, anything that comes up. Okay. So for right now, Adarsh, I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about your ECAs.
For me, if I start from start, we'll talk for days and days. So let me just get to the main points. Like Divya knows, like for me, I've been a sports person since I was a kid. I play badminton, you name it. I play badminton, table tennis, volleyball, and everything. And well, I'm not bragging, but I'm telling you, I'm not half bad in those. I'm good.
He's pretty good. He's just being very humble. He's pretty good.
Yeah. So I do a lot of extracurricular. I like sports. Like if I don't do sport like for 1 week, I won't feel good. I'll be like, no, I'm getting fat. I'm getting out of shape. I'm getting unfit and stuff like that. So this apart. So if we don't talk about the sports thingy, I also play guitar, and that's one of the main thing I do as well. One of the hobbies, you could say, extracurricular. The main thing that I'm doing right now, the thing I'm focused on, I'm the president of a society at MUN, which is the Mauritian Student Society. Now, if we start talking about societies again, it would take a lot of time. So basically, I'll just tell you what it does. When I came here, you had a lot of opportunities, as in, you have a lot of clubs and societies. For example, you have the Bangladeshi Student Association here. Maybe because you can relate if you talk with your friend, and they do a lot of interesting events. We have the IYA, which is the Indian Association, all kind of association. But when I came in, there was not one for Mauritians, and I decided to. And so far, if I'm very concise, I will tell you that not only has it helped me develop a lot, like my leadership skills and how to communicate, how to set up exec, how to get like group members to help me, how to talk with other people, how to approach them and stuff like that. But it also have given me a lot of connections. And I've also been approached by you as well, maybe because you saw those stuff on LinkedIn and it's stuff like that, which is very fascinating in that sense, like how one position can help you grow so much and help you make so many connections as we are doing right now. And also, not only that, I'm getting funding from university just for the initiative I took. I can ask them for example, let's just say when I started right now in the recognition period, I started the club in May.
Semester.
Yeah, last semester. So how it works here, basically, like just to give you an idea, it takes up to 2 semesters to show that you're capable of running a society and how good you're doing. For example, I have to show that I'm able to do events, I'm able to gather people. It's very hard right now in COVID to do that, but nonetheless, I took the incentive, like the initiative. So it's very hard, yeah. But so if we show that we are very determined, which is very crucial in this position that I am in, and how determined you are, how do you want the things to proceed, how hard if they see the effort, basically, they'll be like, yes, this guy is good and he's trying his level best to make something happen. All right. So if we talk about that part, like how I was able to get funding just from being the way I am, from my personality and how I put forward my personality, I showed people like, yes, I'm able to be in a position of leadership. And just because of that, I've been approached by multiple people, be like, oh, I've seen you doing certain events, I've seen you doing hikes, I've seen you gathering people, especially during COVID, and how you did it. So we'll be very interested in sponsoring you for future events. And I'm just showing like one example right now on how easy it's to, not easy, but if you put the work, how it can be for you to get funding to other sources just for you. I can also be nominated for the leadership award of MUN.
Right,
yeah. There are various scholarships which tells you, for example, one of them is the leader of the year, student undergraduate leader of the year. And once you get recognized for that, you can get like funding as in like $4,000, $5,000 annually, which or per semester. I don't know the exact amount, but I'm just want to tell you like how extracurricular is a very big thing and how it promotes personal growth. And from that, how it can help you in your education when you go further and further on, how it can help you make connections, and how it can help you boost your financial needs in the future. Yeah.
I think those are great points you made. I just want to clarify a little bit more. So you said you're very involved in sports. And so before you came and kind of created your own club at MUN, which is great, by the way. And I think that's really stresses also the point that, even when you're coming into university, your ECAs don't end. You still have to be very involved. And that can even open up other sources of financial aid, which is great, and obviously will help in your future development, growth, soft skills, etc. But when you were in high school, and I think this was also another reason why they provided you this entrance scholarship. Obviously, you said grades are important. You were part of some different sports teams, you said, and if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, and also any other ECAs that you did in high school specifically that helped you for your scholarship, you think?
You want me to go? You want to go first? Okay. So for me, it's basically I was in the school council. And basically I wouldn't just say it's the what I did, like the title of what I did is important. It's about how it nurtured me, how good I became, like I just said, soft skills, developing soft skills, personal skills, and all of this you don't just get by reading books and just by doing what you're told to do in the school. You have to step out of the bubble. You have to go do extracurricular activities. For me, I was a school council, which helped me develop my communication skills, verbal skills, personal skills, and meeting new people. I was also very regular in sports, which helped me become, for example, for me, sports, like to be very concise, it helped me develop my time management skills because I was going into school. When I was going to school in high school, I had to take a bus at 6:20 in the morning to reach school at 8. So I had to take a bus, which was like 1.5 hour ride. That stuff was like time consuming, and 8 hours of school and stuff like that. And coming back home, I that was not enough for me. So I had to fit in time to go play badminton. I had badminton sessions every week, and I used to go play football Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sometimes even tournaments and stuff like that. So, well, this kept me fit as well. If we talk on the healthy side, I was kept fit, I was kept healthy, I was kept in good spirit, good mind, because anytime I felt down or I thought I could study more, I just went and played football and stuff like that. That's one. Secondly, I got to meet people again, which is very important. You can't just read. So I got to meet new people, make new friends, and again, all these skills that I acquired through these extracurricular activities are what made me how I am right now. And I'd say it's very crucial and beneficial when you come to a level of university. It helps you a lot. It's for example, it sets you out from the rest. Yeah.
I think that's great to hear. Did you want to add anything else to that point?
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of already mentioned what all I did, but just adding on to what he said, like him, I was a part of a council. I was actually part of two different councils. One was the school itself. I was a sports secretary, and apart from that, I was the vice president of an arts club. Apart from that, it was not exactly a position per se, but it was a two-member society with just two members and a teacher. It was basically just the blogging club, and although we were called the blogging club, we officially made the website for the school and put up all the content on it and things like that. So it was more than blogging. I just don't know why they call us the blogging society, but just all of that, having all of that, it sounds like just, oh, you did that and sounds good on name, but it's actually a lot of work.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially being the sports secretary in a school for the girls. I'm by no means being sexist. I'm just talking about my personal experience. Trust me, I'm the person who's far away from sexist. But in my school, talking from my experience, it was really hard to find team members who are actually passionate about the sports and not just doing it as something to boost their, application. Like when I played, I didn't play thinking, oh, I want to go to university. I never once studied to go to university. I never once played to go to university. I never did anything in my life thinking, oh, I want to land a seat in that university. I just did it because I liked it. I slaved on the sports ground for football, basketball, throwing events, anything, you name it. Tennis is my main thing. I'm actually a part of the university tennis team right here. So I slaved for all of these right there because I love doing it. And it's hard to look at people who don't like doing it when you are so into it.
Yeah.
Like when you're ready to give blood and sweat into it and you're looking at people who are just doing because, oh, why not? It's a sport. It's so frustrating to just, make it work. And after all that, to get it done, it kind of just allowed me to understand that I cannot expect everyone to work the way I work. I need to, if I am to be a leader, I need to understand how to get things done without changing how people think. I just need to learn how to do the right moves, basically.
Yeah. So to be concise, what we're telling you is that okay, yeah, let me tell you it that way. For example, we have scholarships for students who are very involved in sports. It's the Seahawks scholarships.
We do have specific sports scholarships in the university as well.
And this you have to look. For me, I didn't know that much before. I'll be completely honest. I didn't know about all this. When I came here, then I found the page. Oh, you have all scholarships that you could have applied for. So, well, that's why I'm here to teach you guys what you can do if ever you're choosing university. Always know, check your website. I think every department has their own scholarship. For us engineering, we have tons and tons. So we just have to make sure we have to look, be like, oh, this is available. So why not try and apply? And not only that, whatever Divya was trying to say in a nutshell is it looks good on resume as well, even if she was not doing it to enroll in a good university or stuff like that. Here, personally, from what I know, not even personally, I think it's kind of a thing here, a general fact that everyone knows. they don't just look at academics here. I know extracurricular is very big thing here, and if you have extracurricular, you're more likely to be approached by other people because they just don't want the academics. They want people who be like, oh, you've done that, this and that, all these things you've done. You know, you don't just know about doing what you said, but going above and beyond, right, Divya?
Yeah.
So
and
yeah,
to
so
just-
yeah,
quick.
you go ahead.
And just to add on to whatever he was saying, excuse me, when you come from home to university, your scholarship is probably going to be what's on paper. But when you come here, it's going to be who you are. Because the people who give you a scholarship, who give you a job, which gives you a lot of money. That's why we'll come back to co-op. It pays really well. Getting a co-op pays really well. It gives you industry level experience. It gives you it helps you towards your graduation, and it financially supports you for the next semester for your stay, food, as well as tuition. So it's a really good opportunity. And all this you only get if you go out, connect, and talk to people. And right now, if I talk to someone, I can easily say if that person is capable of something or not, simply because of the way they portray themselves. And the things you are involved in extracurricular is not just so it looks good on paper, it's to develop yourself. And so the best advice I would tell everyone who's watching here, develop yourself to the best you can, because you might get in here, you might get an initial scholarship, but if you don't keep working on yourself, which I must say I slacked on for so long, I've slacked off so much the first 2 years. I'm just trying to get back right now. Like, he wouldn't believe all the stuff I'm saying right now because he's only seen me now. He hasn't seen me when I was back in school. But I have slacked off so much. It's kind of hypocritical to say don't do it, but just try your level best to keep on that, because that's what counts. Apart from your academics, what makes you stand out? Anyone can score. What makes you stand out is how you can prove to your employer or whoever is giving you a scholarship that yes, you deserve it, yes, you can do well with it, and just be awesome to them.
So what we're trying to say is, sorry if I interrupted you, Zareen.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
We're not saying like don't study now, don't
Oh,
stop
yes,
studying,
please.
just play football or play volleyball or stuff like that. That's not what we mean. Academics is the priority, it's the main thing. But we just have to make like if it's a balance, if everything is there, academics is on one side and all the other things has to be like counterbalance everything so that everything runs smoothly. If you're just good in academics, and I know pretty much don't think like here like it's MUN, we don't have academic people, we have people I've seen who I've never seen before. When you look at them, you're like, this guy's a genius, like genius. So some people are like that. And for me, when I say genius, I don't just talk about academics. I say genius when I see someone who is good in academics and both outside the books as well.
Just pure mind power.
Mind power, yeah. Because the way they portray themselves, like Divya said. So if you're good in academics, that's great. That's perfect. You've been taught well. You've done well so far. But that's not the only thing. I've seen people here who have just done academics and they slacked off on anything else. And if you just put it that way, the front way is that the best way to put it. For example, I've seen someone who just studies, but you see him, he's out of shape, he's unfit, he has like problems, health problems and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you wouldn't want that, would you? So that's
right,
one of the main things. So
I think sorry, just to kind of go a little bit further into this. So I think those are really fantastic points you bring, that you have to be an all-rounder, not only just focus on the grades, but also just kind of build up yourself so that you can network, have that access to the amazing people at the university. I do want to pick your brains a little bit more on the financial aid aspect through co-ops that you guys said, which I think a lot of people might not know of. So I want both of your insights on that. Like, how do you get it? What are kind of what is the process for that, and what do you need to do essentially to get those co-op financial aids?
So basically, co-op here is just like you applying for a job. It's the same thing, because at the end of the day, you apply, you give your resume, and then you assess among other students, and they see how you're qualified. And again, this is where the main things come: academics. Here, a lot of people will get like GPA 3.5, GPA 3.6, GPA 4. This doesn't match in that sense, because everyone is good. And the thing that like sets you aside, like I said before, is your extracurriculars as well as what you have been doing throughout the years. For example, you could say two students, they did the same thing: engineering, mechanical, term 3, GPA 4, GPA 4. How are you going to differentiate between them? The main thing that comes then is it's the extracurricular that comes. So that's one thing. Well, I just wanted to emphasize on that. Now, if you go on the financial aid, is like I told you, it's just a regular in the field that you're studying towards, and that Divya said, it pays really, really well. So, for example, if you're able to get a work term through applying, the applying process is just like any other job, like I said before. You get money bi-weekly and stuff like that. It depends on how you're working, and the amount of money that you get, it's very different from the other job that you get on campus, like part-time student, for example, working in libraries and stuff like that. The pay is twice or thrice. It's a lot. And just from that money you get, like Divya said before, you can easily pay your next semester. You can pay your living cost, and you can pay your tuition costs as well.
You can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So that's a very big plus. The main thing is you have to be, like I said before, the thing that you have to know how to sell yourself in a sense to be able to get the into the job. Anything else to add, Divya?
Yeah, just to give you exact specifics. Now, whatever I'm saying is specifically just for my city and from whatever I've seen. The base pay right now is 12.15, Adarsh.
12.15.
The base pay right now in the city is 12.15 an hour. You are not allowed to legally earn anything less than that for an actual job. So that's what, and it was 11.5 before. It just became 12.15 like a month ago. 11.65 to 12.15 just like a month ago or so. So when I did my last co-op work term, I'm not completely comfortable revealing my exact salary, but it was something around 20-ish. So plus or minus some $20-ish an hour is what I earned. Now my co-op was cut short because of COVID. I only did two months of work, but whatever I earned was enough to cover almost the entire of my tuition for the next semester. And I did 6 whole courses. And so that's just me working 2 months when my actual work term was supposed to last 4 months. So I would have earned basically double the amount. So that gives me tuition, my stay, which is like half of tuition, and say some more money to save up. So co-op it's basically like a bonus. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You get to work in a place so you know, okay, am I gonna continue with this job? I was doing PCB designing and embedded coding. That was my job. I liked it, and it was really awesome. But I know now that it's not something I'm gonna look at, something I'm gonna do full time in my life. It was a nice experience and I learned a lot, but not something entire life. So I learned something. I was in an actual industry job. I was exposed to connections. Now I'm really good. I'm in good terms with the employer and my coworkers, which is really great for me. And plus, I also earned enough money to support myself.
Yeah.
So co-op is basically awesome. And just in terms of earning a co-op, it's just like applying for a job, but you need to understand that it's not just about, oh, I see a job application on my school website. I see a job application on Indeed or LinkedIn. It's not just that. You shouldn't be afraid to go out and talk to employers. If you open my LinkedIn inbox right now, there's going to be like countless, like say just 100 messages of me just saying, hey, I am Divya. I am an undergrad student in MUN doing Comp Eng. It would be great if we could just have a chat about so-and-so. And this is me texting random people from companies I am interested in who are in positions who I think would be able to give me industry advice. So you should not be afraid to go out, put yourself out there in text. That is the most important thing. You could be the most talented person, the most versatile person on the earth, but no one would know that if you don't communicate that to anyone. So go out and put yourself out there.
Yeah, it's not only about that. I'd like to add one thing as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of degrees which do not have co-op, and that is not a big downside as well because of the countless number of opportunities you get here to earn money, because you're allowed to work part-time, which is 20 hours for students here. Well, in this province, I don't know about other provinces. If you have your student permit, you're allowed to work 20 hours, and in scheduled breaks, like periods of vacations, like at the end of the semester and before the beginning of the next, you're allowed to work up to 40 or even more sometimes in some special circumstances.
It's full-time is 20 and part-time students can work 40.
So this actually depends. It depends if you get authorized breaks and stuff.
That's only for
researched
engineering.
on that.
That's only for engineering.
Okay. I would just say stuff that I don't know, but I know like you're allowed to, if you're full-time, you're allowed to work 20 hours, not more than 20 hours. And if you're part-time, you might be allowed to work more than 20 hours. You can work. I don't know. I'm not sure, so I will not say anything about that. But I'm just saying that even if you do not have co-op opportunities, because a lot of degrees do not offer that, there are some degrees which do not have co-op in them because it's not necessary for them. So there are countless number of opportunities that you can do part-time here, even in university grounds or outside of university, which earns you money, decent money, that you can at least pay your rent and pay your monthly expenses. In general, it's very easy. Even with the base pay, you have enough to pay your rent and to live comfortably and pay your monthly costs.
And just to say something, it's kind of off, but just letting you know, any issue, any doubts you guys have about working extra hours, lower hours, just take decisions based on what we say or what you hear from anything else on the internet.
Yeah.
Go directly to your university's international office or something where they can give you legal advice, because you don't want to get caught up in the mess of working more, working less, not paying taxes, and just getting you into legal issues. That is not something you want to focus on when you're here trying to set up your life. So
this is secondary.
Make sure you
don't
get
worry
your
about
information
that. Yeah.
straight.
So anything for us at MUN, I can only talk about MUN. We have our academic advisors and stuff like that. Anything when in doubt, this for this you should not be shy, because if you're shy and you make a mistake, you realize you made a mistake in the long run, well, you're already home deported. So don't worry about that. This doesn't happen. So you just, any doubt, like if you want to know how much you're allowed to work, if you're having any concern, any like in the future, even if you're working in your workplace, you have concern, you can always voice out to any of the advisors and they are here to help. So any problems, just go to your advisors. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay, great. So it seems like financial aid is very much possible. And, we get a lot of questions in terms of, is it possible to self-sustain yourself after you go to pay your tuition fee? That's, I think, one of the biggest questions that I've gotten so far. And it really depends, I think, and especially from your experiences, you guys, Adarsh, you're saying that it's very easy to kind of meet your living expenses and other additional expenses you might have. And Divya, based on your experience, you think it's okay that, you would probably be able to pay off your tuition as well. So I think that's something that I think a lot of viewers today will find it very useful, because that is a common question we do get. We're almost at time here, but I do want to ask you a parting question. Because we are a mentorship company, I want to ask you, what role has mentorship kind of played in your success so far? The fact that you guys have come so far today, and clearly you're doing really great. And, we had a fantastic conversation here today. I want to know, whether that's in high school or in university, what role has mentorship kind of played in your journey?
Sadly, I didn't really have any direct mentorship per se. There was IDP, I forgot what they stand for, but they didn't directly connect to MUN, so I didn't really have much to go on, to be honest. But once I came here, all my seniors and all the other people here who are like also international, and all the adults here who are of my nationality, who I just met in different circles, like say I dance. So I met in the temple and where I dance and all that stuff, and they helped me a lot. So that is the mentorship I got. I didn't get any prior to coming here. I landed here not knowing anything, and I met these people and they helped me get through it. They helped me, give me all those small tricks and things of the trade that actually helps life get easier and things like that. And yeah, I mean, if you honestly, I just recently got a car, and that was only because I saw a batchmate of mine get a car and do really well. And I don't know where he got the information or knowledge or just the push from, but he got it, and that's how I got it. He getting it and sustaining himself for around a year made me get motivation. So just friends and seniors was for me.
Yeah, for me, mentorship came more from teachers and stuff like that. I don't have any like professional mentorship, and right now I'm kind of envious of all you guys watching because if I had all this knowledge prior to coming here, I would have known a lot more that I could have done from the start. Like, oh, leadership opportunities. Let me start right away at the start. Even for me, when I first came here, I was not that involved in all the kind of leadership positions and skills like that. I was kind of introverted and shy when I first came here. I was doing all my stuff by myself. And there was a lot more for me to explore, which I was not that outgoing. I was, okay, that's there. It's only when I grew up, when I knew about the culture, and I got a lot more of talking to new people, finding new people, such like yourselves, Doreen, and the thing they're doing right now. I told them, I'm like, oh, there's all these facilities and all these people out there to help you, to guide you. And I think this is one of the, I would not say fundamental, but it's very, very, very important. And if you have it, you're very, very lucky, because the amount of things that it shows you that you would have been oblivious to before, it didn't even strike your mind, you didn't even know that was there. You get to know all of this to mentorship, and I think that's very great. for me personally, as I told you, I don't have any mentorship as well. I just went and ask people, oh, how do you do that? Oh, you do that like this. I don't have any like proper mentorship or like advices on what you should do next. They were just telling me what I wanted to know, not above. They were not going out of the box. Be like, oh, you can't just do that. You can do all of this afterwards. You can do all of the other stuff. This is available to you. All of this funding, that, this and that. All of this was not clear cut to me. I had to do it mostly by myself. But the fact that all of these platforms are available nowadays, like you guys, Wired. Am I pronouncing it right?
Wicked.
Yeah,
It's
wicked. Sorry, yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
I'm always say why. Sorry.
No worries.
wicked.
Yeah.
So, seeing that right now, it makes me very happy and glad, even for me on a personal level right now, because I got to share my experience with you and all the people watching right now. They got to get that mentorship. Although it's my first time, I'm very sorry, guy. I'm trying to do the best.
No, you guys are doing amazing. You're doing
For me,
great.
I think this is very great what you are doing, guys, and I like to tell you great job and continue, because I think those guys who are here right now had the opportunity to watch this are very lucky, and we're like, oh yes, finally we have like kind of an upper hand over other students, and I think mentorship is very important. Yeah, you're right.
For sure.
I think that's really where we come in, is to like let students know what they wouldn't have known otherwise. And to your point, Adarsh, like you didn't know a lot of things that you knew obviously once you came here, and you were like, oh, this is how you do this is how you do that. But that's where we come in to bring you guys and tons of other panelists that we've had in the past to just kind of show students, you know, the things that they wish they knew but they don't know. So that's essentially the whole premise of us. But again, I would like to wrap up today's session. It was a fantastic conversation with you guys, and I think the students who are going to be watching this or who are watching this are going to find this fundamentally very valuable to their journey, and hopefully they are more encouraged now to go to MUN, which is going to be great. So thank you so much again for taking the time to be with us here today and sharing all your amazing insights. Please do stay in touch with us. I think that'd be great. And thanks to everybody who's watching today. For now, we'll wrap this session up, and thanks again. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to thank you, Zareen, and even Carol. Thank you very much, guys, for giving us the opportunity to be here right now. I'm very glad that I got to talk to all of you, and I hope that we get to talk again soon.
And once again, like he said, thank you so much. It was an awesome opportunity, and I just like to add on that I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not very active, but I try to be as active as I can. If anyone has any questions whatsoever, feel free to just text me. Sure. I might take a couple of days. It's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because I'm slow. I'm extremely sorry.
And very busy.
I would get back to you. And if you want my full name, I'll text it to one of them. Maybe they can put on the comments or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyone needs any help, reach out to us. We'll be there for you. We will be there for you. Thank you so much, guys.